And it's To Be Fair, a podcast with Ehryn and
Lisa.
You really got to work on that enthusiasm.
I'm sorry, it's been a long day.
This is always her excuse
but
every
I'm
episode.
So happy to be here.
Yes, but
to be assaulted with judgment.
It just always sounds so great when we do your introduction. She's like, Lisa, every now and then we get a
Lisa. Yeah.
She's gonna get it. One of these days she's gonna sound like a boss bitch. But
Yeah.
And we are joined by one of our great podcast friends, Mr. Sir Stephen Rice. Wow, how many introduction names do I have to give him? You're just Sir Stephen Rice. We like to go Sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
Sunshine Stephen, the podcast. You also have a podcast with your husband. It's just about scary stuff, right?
Yep, Murder Mondays, where we talk about murder.
Now, Lisa, are you knew about this, Lisa?
I can barely remember what I did yesterday. So I'm going to actually put a note in my phone right now because I am a murder.
The best.
Oh my God, I'm a murder obsessed person.
I'm kind of shocked she's going to talk about it now all the time on our show just because now she's going to have that podcast to listen to because you're a friend of ours and she likes murder podcasts and she likes all that kind of stuff.
I do.
So she's got a bug in her.
I have it's a very large bug.
So
always in my room.
Anyway, so
sorry.
I cannot remember what we were talking about.
We were introducing Sir Stephen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sir Stephen. We were
with my 12 different titles.
Right. And a murder podcast.
Do you know what's
down for that?
Do you know what's really funny about all those little titles is that I actually am a lord in Scotland. I bought one of those little like foot plots of land.
You would.
And so I got that. It was a buy one, get one for me and my roommate Sarah last year when I lived with her. I bought us each one and that was our Christmas present to make us a lord and lady.
I mean, gotta do what you gotta do.
It was a BOGO, so I decided to.
Right.
What is this? A sale at Old Navy?
I couldn't help it. I'm like, buy one, get one titles. What?
They must be running low on lords and ladies.
Right, ladies, yeah.
And I couldn't decide which title I wanted, being a non-binary person. I was like, crap, they have not thought this through for us yet.
It's because it's older than the wheel, the titles.
Yeah.
That is true. So anyway, we have I want to have a nice rounded out episode. We've been doing really well with that, Lisa. We're growing as people, Stephen.
Aren't we all?
We feel like we're getting to be better podcasters. Like just in the last few episodes, I think we've been feeling stronger about it.
A little bit.
So we've been having a little bit more of a formula. So speaking of formulas, it is still the month of October, which means we're like just a few days away from that day.
Yeah, from Christmas.
Yep, that one. Oh, don't worry, we'll have some fun episodes for that day. But
Halloween is Christmas. Have you never seen Nightmare Before Christmas? Duh.
This is Halloween.
Exactly.
Oh, I do love The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I can literally only watch it between Halloween and Christmas. I can't watch it before Halloween and I can't watch it after Christmas. That's just how it is for me.
It's weird.
It's because it's an in-between. It's a beauty queen.
My husband makes me watch it all year long.
I love your husband.
I could watch it all year round too. I'm just saying is that
look at him changing his story.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I know.
It feels right though when you watch it, man.
Yes, there's what I mean.
Yes.
It's like the perfect time, if that makes sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like I'm saying, I won't count it out any time of the year. Like if I'm at Lisa's house and she puts it on, I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna not watch it.
I carry it around on my body every day, so I'm kind of committed.
You just explain.
I have a giant tattoo on my ribs of Jack and Sally. Yeah, I didn't think I had to explain.
I wanted you to because I'm like,
but for those in the back.
So we all love Halloween. And one thing that we all really love is scary movies. I know that one franchise that Steven and I share in common is the Scream franchise. Like, I'm super excited for the new one. I'm sure you are.
So
as well.
excited.
Yeah. Oh my God. I am. Lisa, you've seen all 4 of the other ones, right?
I just saw the 4th one like a week ago.
So you're so lucky to have seen that for the first time. Like, I want to talk about
it was
Scream
pretty
4.
okay done.
Now that we've all seen Scream 4, let's just talk about that, because that's the last movie that was made before the one that's coming out in January. And I liked it. I was really, my friend and I that went to it, we were like, it's gonna be really weird to see it now. Like, it's been 10 years since they made Scream 3, it's all right. And the way they did it, because at that time in the 2010s there, they were starting all the horror movie remakes, so they played off that. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is so fantastic. And I'm not going to give the plot twist for anyone that's listening or watching this podcast, because if they haven't seen it, I know. Just
it's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years, but
and it's
all right, but okay. So the fact that the plot twist of the fact of how the killer was Sydney's cousin. And it was played by Emma Roberts, Julia Roberts' niece, who was just at that time her career climbing up there, and then she becomes Ryan Murphy's plaything.
I really liked when she beat herself up at the end. Like,
the best scene in the whole movie.
That was the whole at the end when she destroyed herself and jumped on a coffee table and ran herself into a butcher knife.
I felt like that was award worthy performing, because I remember Edward Norton getting an award for that in Fight Club. When you have to do those scenes where you literally have to physically hurt yourself in a lot of that's very choreographed and stuff. I want to say that there was a lot of those scenes that were cut with a stunt double. Not gonna lie.
Well, obviously.
I'm not that naive, but for the most part, she still had to film a lot of stuff that moved that fast, because she had to be in certain angles to make it work. And so, she did great. And I like her dimensions of being an actress, but she plays total bitch best. I want to see her. I want to see her as Chanel Oberlin forever, or her character that was the witch in Coven.
Madison,
the actress girl, Madison.
Montgomery. Montgomery.
Yeah. Yes. So, but anything that Ryan Murphy will put her in a character, she's golden. So, which is so weird. Some people don't like her, but I think
sucks to suck.
Yeah. I really thought that was a really good plot twist there, and how they did it, because it's like they're literally explaining these copycat killers so perfectly. For Christ's sake. Michael Myers in Halloween just keeps coming back. Freddy Krueger just kept coming back. Jason just kept coming back. This is literally a real person that is just so messed up, that is literally obsessed with horror movies. And it's like, I'm obsessed with horror movies because this happened to me.
Could I be Ghostface?
Am I the villain? Am I the killer?
Right.
In Split, one of your personalities is, I think it was Split or 20th. I don't know. There's a Ghostface costume in my son's bedroom, and he got a voice changer. So I'm 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah. Did you guys ever watch the Scream TV series?
No.
Yes.
I liked them. I did not see the 3rd season with Tyler Posey was in it. I know that. And it was revamped. It did not follow the other 2, but it brought Ghostface back.
Yeah, well, evidently big rumors, and one of those sources, I can't remember the name, that has put a lot of stuff out there that's come true, says that they're bringing they're gonna have another Scream for the series, but it's a continuation of the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
Which I'm excited for.
I did like that storyline.
Yeah.
I really did. I thought they had some really interesting stuff going on there. And yeah. Although the first season's killer was a little too spot on the nose for Scream 3 almost. Like it was almost similar arc, just a sister instead of a brother. So I was like, okay, what are you doing?
The struggle is really real today. I moved and it unplugged my stupid ring light. I'm new to this like technology. My significant other bought me a brand new computer, microphone, headset, ring light.
Because we're getting real. Like
he supports us fully.
He is such a sweet guy, and probably one of our biggest supports. What?
Are you talking about the same person?
Okay, but shut up. I'm just talking about in the sense that he even he was so kind that he even wanted us to be matching in quality that he got me my microphone as well.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
We'll keep him.
So he's helping us grow, which is another, and so we're appreciative of anyone who is supportive of us. So so scary movies. We were talking before we started the recording. Another franchise we like is and that we all three like for sure is the Chucky series. Now, did you see all the movies, like even like The Cult and The Curse?
Yep.
Okay.
I still have to watch Cult.
You still have to watch Cult, but you are up until last night's episode caught up with the series.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love because I think that the remake was.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like, I feel like they could have just not taken Chucky in that sense. And they
could have
done
been
a whole
any
different
doll.
Yeah.
Any doll.
Any AI doll that could have been like, this is
Chucky.
reminiscent of Chucky. Like this reminds makes me want to watch Chucky. But it could have been Child's Play, a different world. I don't know. But still, and because I still liked the story plot. I still liked all the, I thought it was a good movie in itself, but I was like, Chucky's a voodoo doll.
Right. Like, I mean, I think it was cool. Like pissed off worker at a factory was like, screw you guys, and boom.
Yep. And I will tell you that with all that stuff happening, that was my scary thing of like, AIs are freaking terrifying. And
don't steal my fear.
And I have a Google Home Mini in my freaking room right now who is listening.
Yeah.
I don't even care. Have at it, y'all.
And when you give her
right.
I mean, the only access she has access to my lights and my TV.
That's your fault.
I'm just saying. Like, there's some weird shit that she can do if she really wants to fuck with me. So I'm very careful at how much I respect this woman creature. I don't really know what to describe. Anyway.
Well, whatever. Skynet is coming. Accept it. Move forward.
And so I was literally terrified, and then I couldn't even watch Terminator Dark Fate, and I was looking forward to that movie. I've seen it now, but I tried it when I was watching that with Mikey. Actually, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god. I'm like, this is really gonna happen. Well, instead we get a virus.
Aliens.
I was like, okay, well.
So have we all seen Halloween Kills?
Yeah,
I have. Yeah, we've all seen that.
What did you think?
I think it's a good thing that there's another movie coming out.
I think that they have milked that cow dry.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like
with this
5 movies ago.
I mean, because didn't we just 10 years ago, didn't we have another takeoff where it was supposed to be Laurie Strode was still alive and was teaching, and Josh Hartnett's first movie was her son in that, because it was a different story arc. Now
was
it's
that like H2O?
A bit more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Was it? Oh, it was 20 years ago now.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
That came on 2000-ish, like 99, 2000. Oh my God, that's right. I remember that in high school. It was around the Scream time.
Yeah, I adore Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's fantastic.
Love
but
her.
I think that it's time to move forward.
Yeah.
Michael Myers is supposed to just be a mentally ill psychopath. I'm sorry.
And if
you can't get hit with a car and shot and stabbed that many times unless you're like Jason Voorhees. I get that.
And if I'm understanding this, they've kind of erased the idea that they're brother and sister.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem to be
movies
there.
2 through I think it was Halloween Resurrection or whatever didn't happen.
Yeah, they're the Myers verse, like the Michael Myers verse. Like there's a multiverse of
they were rumors.
Mm-hmm. So
Halloween Kills was very, to me, disappointing. Like it was a good horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Lots of gore.
But not a good Halloween movie. Like as a franchise.
Yeah, agreed.
I really, when the movie ended, I was like, okay, well, maybe they ended it that way because we already knew there was going to be another movie coming out next year.
It was really
Halloween Ends or something.
Yeah, Halloween Ends.
No,
it was just all over the place. Jamie Lee Curtis, I could have done her part by just laying in the hospital bed for most of the movie.
And how much do you think she made from that movie? Like
a shit ton.
All of the doll hairs.
all of the money. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Don't
get me wrong. Like in the Scream Queen, just like Emma Roberts, like in a. I mean, when you think about, just to talk about Ryan Murphy here for just a second, because Glee with Jane Lynch, how he had that, just terrible human being of a person, and then you have that with, if you saw The New Normal, where he had Ellen Barkin doing that. Was it Ellen Barkin? Yeah, I think it was Ellen Barkin. No, was it Ellen Barkin?
It was somebody.
Anyway, I just know she was the Kirsten Dunst's mom from
Drop Dead
Gorgeous. Thank you. I should know that it's a Minnesotan movie. But and then there was, of course, what's her name?
Jessica Lange.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just these.
Sarah Paulson.
There's just he's really good at finding like these totally crazy bitchy characters.
Yeah.
So Jamie Lee Curtis took on that type of role in these Scream Queen shows, which only 2 seasons of, although I kinda I sorry, I got a message from one of the producers.
So did he.
Okay, so she's right though. Brought it up as a good point where, like, I'm not here to sit and review an episode, but I just want to say Scream Queens was such a great show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Halloween. Anyone else got something to talk about, or just to wrap up our little Halloween stuff?
What about the Friday the 13th? Nope.
Who was the
Nightmare
original?
on Elm Street?
Oh, Freddy
Sorry,
Krueger.
the remake. Sorry,
the remake.
My brain.
Now the remake, I wanted it to be so good. I really did.
Oh, the one from 2010.
Yeah, but you can't you can't have Freddy Krueger without Robert Englund.
Correct.
You can't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They did remake Friday the 13th too in 2009, I think it was.
Yeah, and I only watched that because Jared Padalecki was in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was okay.
Guilty pleasure. Freddy versus Jason.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Not even guilty. I love that movie.
I mean, that movie is not even a scary movie. That was just a movie that was like that was a gift to all of us fans.
Yeah.
I remember it was one of the first movies I got to see when I was like 18 or 19 or 19.
God, are we that old?
R-rated like horror movies. Yes.
I was a child.
Yes.
Oh, you're the baby. That's right.
I remember seeing that movie and getting ID'd at the movie theater to go see it. They were
bring it back to Scream 4 was one of the first movies I got ID for because I was 18.
I forgot. I keep forgetting how much different in age he is than us. Like, because he's a Buffy fan, and so it's like Buffy fans. There's no age there.
There's no age limit to awesome.
Buffy is for everyone. I have been rewatching Buffy so hard right now. I'm doing
perfect season.
I'm not like watching it in a linear order. I'm just picking like favorite episodes. And currently I'm in the Dark Willow years.
Those are good ones.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and then I'll probably go right to like my favorite episodes of season 7, which are really hard to find in season 7 because it was like it felt like they were phoning it in.
I love what I just saw. That was a fantastic photo of you there.
Steven's picture.
I don't know what happened.
No, but we just love your picture.
I do.
Okay, quick thing before we move on to the next topic. I just want, did anyone see our story, our podcast story, my story? I know Lisa did, but we are working on a new like look for our podcast logo and brand, because now that we're co-hosts and it's not just my show, we really kind of like the awkward family photos of the 80s and 90s style.
Yeah.
And so what do you think? You think that's a good one?
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, like those corny JCPenney glamour shots.
Yes.
Like I feel like we should just put on khakis
Napoleon
and like
Dynamite style.
like khakis up to here and sweaters that are just hideous.
Up to where? I can't see where you're like jumper. You were like, all I saw was this up to here.
Sorry, I forget that you can't see my waist. But basically up to, up over your belly button.
Where I wear all of my pants.
Yeah.
Because I'm
hardcore
old.
mom jeans.
Right. Like tapered, stonewashed denim.
So for those of you listening out there that I hope that are watching on YouTube and have by now subscribed, liked, and shared, and even given us a comment on this video here. And if you're listening on any other podcast, make sure you subscribe what you're listening to. We'd love to hear from you. And let us know what you think about awkward family photos, and tell us about your awkward family photos from the 80s and 90s, because by what I'm seeing from our demographics, our audience is our age. So
I wasn't born in the 80s, so I wouldn't know.
To be fair, though, you were born in a great decade.
The 90s were, but see, the 90s was a great decade for us to grow up as teenagers in. We had the beginning of SNCC, TGIF,
True.
Buffy, if it wasn't for Dawson's Creek, I probably wouldn't have had the courage to come out. Shut up. It gave me the courage to come out gay. You don't take that away from me, straight person. That's your straight privilege. Your straight privilege is just totally taking over, isn't it?
I have to go.
I turned that one on.
I was never a Dawson's Creek person.
No, it's okay. And I respect that, because it was one of those hard ones to choke down. Like it was.
I was a Gilmore Girls person.
Oh my God! Don't.
What?
I'm a Gilmore Girls fan, like through and through.
I know, but
Dawson's Creek existed far before Gilmore Girls, sweetie.
Yeah, I know, but doesn't mean I dislike it anymore or less.
Oh, sure.
I suppose I should get my hand out of my mouth if I'm trying to talk to you guys. I'm sorry.
But speaking of straight privilege, which, by the way, listeners, Lisa, I was not calling her out in a bad way, but she showed a perfect option.
I love to open doors for you.
What open door?
Like, I love to give you the opportunity to burn me.
You'd think that we were frenemies, Steven.
I mean, most good friendships are that way.
Yeah,
it's true. We throw shade at each other all the time.
Too. Yeah,
most besties are assholes to each other at some point.
Yeah,
Lisa's actually one of the best people I know in this entire world. I recently dealt with some mental health struggles, and she was pretty much the one person I kept in most contact with, next to my mother. Yes, and now my mother has her number, and we'll probably call her from time to time, I'm sure. Oh my God, has she already?
No.
Dang it. No, okay.
No.
Anyway, so we were talking the other day about, I think we saw a TikTok video.
You had posted a TikTok video on your story on Facebook, and it really just kind of struck a chord with me. I apologize, I do not remember the TikToker's name, but he's a teacher, and it was
he's that pre-K teacher with the fingernails a lot of times.
Oh, Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Williams.
He had posted a video about how it was bring your family photo to school. I think he teaches first grader. That's what he was doing when he did the video. And
he brought a picture of him and his husband.
Of him and his husband, and someone in the teacher's lounge like made a big deal out of it. And his response was, married couples can go around and tell everybody that they're trying to have a baby, but I can't bring a photo of my husband and I in. So basically, you guys can tell each other that you're boning on your free time, but I can't bring a picture of me and my husband in together. And then he mentioned straight privilege, and I messaged Ehryn. I was like, oh my God, ew, it's so bad. Like straight privilege is really bad, because I think he even mentioned, like, if he came to school and talked about his sex life, with his coworkers, there would be repercussions rather than, we're trying to have a baby, because that's
but it's
societal norms again.
It is true. It's heteronormativity and everything like that, because it seems to be okay to talk about that kind of stuff in public, like, oh, we're trying to have a baby. I'm like, but do you know what I just heard you tell me?
Do you know what that means?
You realize what you're saying to me? Like, we don't think about it that way. But when I come and say, oh my God, like, let's use Steven, for example, since he actually is married, he can get himself a man. But if him and his husband, of that fact, like, and they can be like, something be like, well, that's not really like cool, because you're basically showing us that you have sex with a man. It's like,
right.
You just said that you was banging because you gonna have a baby. And all I did was, like, that's exactly, just to translate it. So, like, with what you saw on the TikTok with Mr. Williams, if you translate it for anyone else in the same context, that's what it is. You literally are saying one is acceptable and the other isn't, and they're both completely natural.
Very true. And now, like, I wonder what if you and your husband are trying to have a baby, then what? Because obviously it's not gonna, I don't have to explain why that isn't going to happen that way. Biologically, but would it be considered, I don't want to say taboo, but would it be considered, quote, inappropriate for you to, for them to have talked about that?
Or think about it from that perspective. Think about it from the exact perspective of the fact that you don't know what trying to have a baby means to anyone these days.
Yes.
Right there. Like, you're automatically going to the fact because, clearly sex is going to lead to a baby. Well, it's, I mean,
says
I guess,
who?
You in your heteronormative world, sure, that's true. But it's like, if I want to go have a kid, I've got more paperwork to do to prepare myself to be a kid than some straight privileged person does. You know what I'm saying? That's straight privilege. But if I want to have a child planned out in any way, shape, or form, it's there's so many more hoops I have to jump through, unless I want to just not, like, betray who I am, go physically have sex with a woman that I don't want to do, because it's still possible for me to impregnate a woman.
That just sounds so
do you know how
weird?
Do you know how weird it is to say it? But I'm trying to, because people.
No, it's a good comparison.
Yes, I mean, it is a possibility there to do so. However, that's not likely going to happen. So if I'm going to have a child, there's going to be a lot of different ways I'm going to have to do it, and I'm going to have to go through so much more than somebody to just go and bang it out.
Lassie.
So
sorry, I chuckle because it's a hard truth.
You're trying to have a baby. I mean, how much is that costing you? I mean, how much is that? How much time and emotional energy is that costing you? when you're interviewing surrogates, you know, for gay people, like a lot of times, because that's usually a process if they're not going to just adopt. There's so many factors that people have to do. So when people are saying that we're trying to have a baby, that's a straight privilege term to think about, and then have to go and try and say that, ooh, you can't really talk about your life though, because it's sinful.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Stephen lives down in the South.
Yeah.
And so he clearly must deal with some very interesting situations, I'm sure. Got any on the top of your head that you could share that would?
Yeah, well, even going back to the whole, that's one thing, especially now being married. Me and my husband have been married for 4 years, almost 5. It'll be 5 next year. And people a lot will, oh, when are you guys having kids and stuff? And I'm like, it's not as easy as you think. But I do always give the disclaimer, you know, that's not every couple as well too, because I know that some people do struggle with infertility and stuff like that, you know. But it's a lot harder with people just assume, and I think that's the biggest struggle with straight privilege. Even back when one of my friends was married, back right as the, you know, everybody was like, when was it, 2015 I think, marriage equality, before it was a
When
thing,
the
though.
Supreme Court.
Yeah, the marriage license that you had still said husband and wife. And so for her marrying another female, somebody had to be the husband, somebody had to be the wife, to where at least we have come around. I don't know where it is everywhere else, but in the state of Florida, when me and my husband got married in 2017, it said spouse 1, spouse 2, or partner 1, partner 2, something like that. But just imagine, one, for years and years and years and years, we couldn't even get married. But 2, it's like, oh, in some states, in some places, you're allowed to get married, but you still, you know, put in a heteronormative box of, you know, one has to be the wife and one has to be the husband. And I'm like, that's just not how it is. But yeah, being in the South is really hard too, because a lot of places I've lived in small towns have been Bible belts. And even going back to the school thing with Mr. Williams, like, there was a gay teacher, like that was their identifier, and that's all you knew about that teacher. And it's just like, who cares? Like, what does that have to do with anything, you know? And I can guarantee that teacher that had a problem with it was probably, I guess the rationale was, you know, how are you explaining that to kids and stuff? Like, we should be explaining this to kids so that we stop, you know, the cycle of it being so taboo. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I have to go grab my computer charger. I apologize. I'm gonna mute myself.
Dare you?
I know. I looked, my computer screen went dim and I thought, uh-oh. And then I saw my computer is only at 19% and I don't want to disconnect from you, fine folks.
So your computer is homophobic.
Clearly. The computer's like, bitch, bye.
Computer's like, this is getting too real.
Right. This is too serious. Let's go back to screen points.
Right. Go get your charger.
Yeah. Continue.
So yeah, I was gonna say the one straight privilege thing I'm really like disgusted by most of the time in this world is when people are always saying, oh, I'm okay with gay people, just stop putting it in your, it's like throwing it in our face. Like,
Bitch, we're not throwing it.
What exactly is being thrown in your face? Like, define, oh, you know, all that fairy stuff, all that rainbow. I'm like, you mean all that stuff that just shows that we're happy being who we are
in a relationship and stuff? Yeah.
Is
not
that
to mention, you know, we've had a grown up with that. Like, Romeo and Juliet, you know, all the romantic comedies.
Yes.
It was all like in your face, like even to
Heteronormative.
where,
Yep.
yeah, I remember in high school wanting to try out to play tennis, and a whole bunch of people were like, that's a girl sport, stuff like that. That's so heteronormative, like it's normal, quote unquote normal and stuff. And
I lived in a rural community, a population of 300, you know,
yeah.
and I went to high school with many country people.
Bumpkin,
And
yeah.
like, and sports was pretty much what you did if you were a boy. And so
Yep.
we had a drama club in our school, but I was the only boy that did any of that stuff. And so I was constantly told that, you know, this is stuff girls do that stuff, boys do this stuff.
Yeah, you must be gay.
I must be. And I never felt like I fit in, you know.
Yeah.
So that's another straight privilege thing, is the fact that most of the time, if they have any reason to not fit into a societal norm, it's not usually their sexual orientation that makes them stand out.
Right.
So we could find different reasons why people stand out, but that's the whole different reason, is that everyone stands out. And we have to try and accept everyone for everything, but we just can't. But we're also in a problem where so many people continuously just you don't worry, we'll get you. We're kind of just re-summing up straight privilege and stuff.
And I came in at just the right time.
Yeah.
I could not explain to you how hard that just was, but I will after we're done. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
But yeah, so straight privilege is so common and has been a part of my life forever, because I literally grew up in a community that, if there was any other gay people in my community as a child, they were so much further in the closet than I ever could have fit. So I didn't know of any. I didn't have people I could talk to about it. Anyone who I did start talking to about it at a certain age seemed like they were uncomfortable to even try to have that conversation with me. Most of the time would just try to be like, you know, redirect me about and stuff. So I knew that I wasn't gonna get that help. So that's like the biggest straight privilege that I can ever explain, is that that's been the biggest barrier in my life. So I fight on the side of like problems with white privilege too. Like, I'm not stupid enough to discredit my white privilege. Yeah. I'm fully aware of mine. Like, we won't get too deep into the white privilege conversation again, because we already had
a whole nother yeah.
Right. Well, it's like me. I'm like, I have all the privilege. I'm straight, white, Midwestern. I hate it, but it's true.
Well, yeah, I mean, the odds of you being, you know, arrested over like a person of color counterpart that's with you, you know, in the wrong spot, wrong time, you know, is the biggest problem. And so I think that's why it's easy for me to be really cautious about these problems with racism. It's because as a minority in my own right, that sounds really weird to say, but it's easier to be able to fight for other, when, you know,
empathize and understand and fight.
So that, I think that's why this one situation, Stephen, I'm dealing with in a community theater thing here in town, there's blind racism is basically what I'm calling it. Yeah, and I'm dealing with that. And so that's where I've been so passionate about it, and I feel bad because I'm like, am I doing the right thing, or am I just doing this because I'm bitter, you know? But I keep going back to the fact that no, I really truly believe that they're making a bad decision. And so I'm continuing to wage some sort of war, I guess.
I gotta practice radical acceptance. I've been trying to do that recently with a few things in my life, and it's hard.
Yeah. I think we're transitioning into our mental health check-in, where we've transitioned from the straight. I think we've got it covered, straight privilege, and our thoughts on it. So let's just do our little mental health check-in. Lisa. Where are you at in your mental health? Peekaboo.
Goggles.
I'm goggles. I'm goggling. I'm here. I'm still breathing air. I was on my feet all day. I mean, it could always be better. It could always be worse. It gets greater later.
I got to meet my new therapist the other day.
Fantastic.
Navigating this new diagnosis. For those listening, Stephen, everyone, I was diagnosed bipolar.
Welcome.
And that when I've been telling people slowly about this because of like trying to process it myself. Everyone's at questions, how do I feel about that? Like I told my brother that tonight, and he was like, and I was just like, honestly, I think a few years ago I would have been like totally in denial about it and like just acting a fool. But now, because I've been struggling so hard the last few years, I think it's easier now to have a name to the monster I'm fighting, because now I can figure out the tools I need to fight. If that's a good metaphorical way to put it.
Well, it's true. I mean,
but
at least now you have a path that you can like, follow for, if you want to do research on it, or if you want to find like homeopathic ways to treat, your mental illness or whatever. So
yeah. And so we'll be navigating a lot of that through the podcast and different ventures through the next season. That's going to be fun. Yeah, but right now I'm just in that point where trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to afford the services I'm going to need, because I don't have health insurance that covers mental health. So this is a problem all over.
Trust the
America.
Process.
Yeah, the process sucks right now.
It does. It's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of hoops, and it's a lot of red tape, but the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Is that what they say? I don't know. Something I'm like full of like super cliche little sayings tonight.
You are.
But that's fine though, because it's true. I mean, I got a diagnosis this 2011. That I got my diagnosis. Yeah. And it was like I didn't get mine treated forever and ever and ever. I mean, of course I was medicating myself other ways, but even before that though, I knew I had the diagnosis, and it doesn't change who you are. It's just a diagnosis.
Yeah.
We like you.
It's just the navigating through now. The process of recovery is the scary part now. It's like, oh my gosh, there's just so much to organize. And we know how chaotic my organization can be.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Stephen, you want to check in with us on your mental health?
Yeah, I also want to not say congratulate you, but commend you on sharing your story and stuff, because it is very important, and one main reason I started my podcast and talk every episode about mental health, to where even now I literally work at a behavioral health hospital.
That's awesome.
It's such a big thing in my life, and it's so true. You get something, me myself, like, so of course depression and anxiety for as long as I remember, diagnosed with that. But then last year a lot of stuff came up with COVID and losing my sister, to where I wasn't sleeping, I was having night terrors and stuff. And so talking to my therapist, they're like, let's get you like somebody that can really dive into this, and they diagnosed with PTSD. And I was like, I thought that was something like people that go to war get, like there's no way. And they're like, oh no, it's real. Like, but I understand what you like, that whole navigating next steps. Even I had insurance, and they were like, yeah, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And it was like, even this copayment of $25 adds up if I'm going every 2 weeks, so that's something that could be a whole nother episode of wanting. I wish there was more resources for people out there with mental health, illnesses and stuff, because that's why in SAT, it sounds like where I work at now, there's a lot of people that I see struggling and stuff, and it's because they don't have the means and the funds. But that brings me to my mental health right now. It's pretty good. I'm exhausted mentally, physically, and spiritually, though, because I actually am in Titusville, Florida, which is 2 hours away from home, for the past 2 days. Tomorrow I get to go home finally. But doing training, I took on more responsibility at work, so I get to train employees after I go through this training. I'm a trainer on 2 things that we do, which is handle with care, which is when you're working in a behavioral health, and if shit goes down, you're not just grabbing people and throwing them and stuff, like how to properly, hey, let's do this, even because we work with kids and stuff too, like a child's gonna get your attention by grabbing your hand, so how to get out of that and let them know, like, hey, we don't do that. And then verbal de-escalation, where how you calm people down, which is the wrong word to say. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Never tell somebody to calm down, because that will never work.
Calm down.
That's like the trigger word to
trigger. Yes.
You want me to what? I'll show you. You don't think
Bitch, I will show you. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
I'll show you. Calm down.
That's exactly. Yeah. Oh.
So that's what I've been doing for the past 2 days, is getting all that knowledge and how to really help train people. And to me, after last year and everything, it really did. I was like, not only do I want to work more on my mental health, but then help others as well too. So even though I'm not a clinical side of things, I'm not a nurse or anything like that, but
sometimes
the little
that's
that
better.
I can do.
Sometimes not being in a clinical position, in my experience, I feel makes you more approachable.
Yeah.
Because I know that, like, when I was trying to do therapy, I got set up, but it was during COVID, so I had to do Zoom, and that might have been part of it, but there was no cohesiveness, like we didn't click, there was no. And I don't know, I find that my therapy comes from doing that podcast. Sometimes, I mean, this is one of the very few things right now that I look forward to.
Same.
I was recently had an absolutely complete psychotic breakdown, so that was super fun, which is why I'm here. And I got to finally meet my psychiatric behavioral health physician face to face, and her and she's wonderful and kooky, and she must be super smart because she talks to herself a lot. I mean, and to be in the psychiatric field where you prescribe medicine to people, I just think big brain. But she, she's very personable. So, you're not in a clinical position, but I mean, I don't know where I was going with this. I'm sorry. She is like someone who's not in a clinical position. Like, she's real. Like, she doesn't pretend to be, like, she's not pretentious, and she doesn't, so she's very approachable. And I think that being in a non-clinical position like you, but having all that knowledge, I would be, a lot of times, if I were in that kind of position, be more willing to talk to you than I would to talk to a nurse, because a nurse is just going to pass me around. At least that's my experience in that situation. But yeah, she added a bunch of more meds to my regiment, so we'll see. All right. I don't know. I'm rambling.
Hey, Lisa, got any recommendations?
Watch Trick or Treat.
Like the movie? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's such a good horror movie.
I don't think I've seen that since it came out.
It's so good.
Like, I don't think I hated it. It hasn't kept on my like top list of movies to rewatch,
Yeah.
Kind of like Cursed with Christina Ricci and
so good.
I know
Jesse
Eisenberg was in that. Yeah. That was such a good movie, but it was so terribly marketed.
my recommendations is, you know what? Have a little nostalgia in your Halloween and watch the old classics, 80s slashers.
Oh, yes, like Lost Boys.
That's not a slasher. Those are vampires.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. We were talking about like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Watch Johnny Depp get sucked into a waterbed.
But you should watch Lost Boys.
Even the older, watch Carrie.
Carrie.
Love Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie was a good one.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Right. That was the first movie I watched that I was like, good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it's kind of like
Midsommar was the last movie I watched that I was like, good for her.
I will say that growing up in high school, when prom came around, I was like, this is my time.
I know. Somebody poured their blood on this.
Yeah,
bitch.
and it never happened.
Yes.
It never happened, and here we are. Now I'm bipolar, and I'm
watch Hereditary.
Oh, wild.
That movie. The scene with the car and the kid and and Squid Games.
Ew.
It's so good. I would have died in the first episode, but it's still so good.
I would have died in the first second.
All right. Right. I tremor too much to play red light, green light.
I do like the trends it came out with TikTok. Like, I think I've been more entertained by that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like the gay people, like being like, if gays were in the Squid Games, they like drop
play Lady Gaga,
Lady Gaga, or Britney.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. But then let's see, what do you got for recommendations, Steven?
Netflix's You.
Yeah, season 3 came out, right?
Wait, there's a new season.
Yeah, I still have to finish season 2 though. Is that weird? I know.
What?
I know.
Yeah, I'm ending this right now.
Right.
Steven's just gonna walk out.
Bye.
Me and my husband finished You in like 2 days. The 3rd season in 2 days.
I have too many. I have so many shows that like I can't figure out which one. I know.
Oh my god! I will drop everything I am doing to watch the next season of You. Like,
you need to, because the last season had everybody shook.
Okay, all right, sold.
What?
Especially in the finale.
Lisa, let's watch it when I come this weekend.
I'm telling you, it's just the last 10 minutes of the finale when they dropped Taylor Swift's song Exile. It just that whole song, you're just like,
okay, stop. Okay, stop.
It's so good, but I'm just telling you need to drop everything and go.
Okay, all right,
got
it.
Consider it done.
Okay.
Like
the next time we talk, I'll have it'll be done.
Okay, yes, I agree. Because I think next time
Penn
Badgley.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but his character, I'm like,
it's awful.
Oh, hello, red flags.
No,
let's
horrible.
Go. I don't
think anybody hates his name's Joel Goldberg, the character, hates him more than Penn does, because every interview he's like, he's a horrible fucking person, you should die. And I'm like, damn, he hates this character, but he plays him so well.
Well, that's the thing, is that's why Penn Badgley is such a great actor, because playing those types of characters that you hate are some of the biggest work.
Yeah. Oh, the number one most everybody hates this bitch. She's in season 3. Oh my god.
Okay, we're gonna stop talking about this show now, because I cannot hear anymore.
No spoilers. I gotta go.
That's my biggest my biggest recommendation right now, especially for spooky season.
My recommendation, because we didn't finish talking about it right now, is the TV series of Chucky. The TV series. We talked about the movies a little bit back in our beginnings, but the TV series has been fantastic so far. 3 episodes in, we're all caught. Well, I'm caught up, but we are all 3 of us have at least seen the first 2 episodes. Yeah. So the first 2 episodes, I mean, what you thinking?
I think it reminds me of Scream in the way that it's scary when it needs to be, but funny when it needs to be.
Yes.
Again, and it sounds repetitive, but that's my life as a married man. Me and my husband watch it together, and we rewound it like 5 times when Chucky smacks the shit out of homeboy, and he's like, "Talk to me, talk to me." He's like, "You know what?" He just whack, and I'm like, "This is the funniest fucking thing." I don't know why.
I love the dark. It pays homage to the slap like the 80s dark comedy slasher.
Very campy.
Well,
yes.
and it keeps up with the dark side of what Child's Play was when we were kids, and like I was terrified of Chucky for the longest time. I wet the bed because of that little fucker. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. My husband the other day, we were in Spirit Halloween, and there was a live Chucky doll, and I was like, "Oh, we should." He was like, "Hell no, that would not step foot in the house." And I was like,
No.
"It's one thing to watch.
It's one thing to watch the
No.
show and the
That's
movies.
what they all say.
Right.
Yeah, it's one thing to
Until
watch
you're
them
all
on movies and
dead.
shows, and then you bring that thing in, you're just inviting whatever is next to happen.
Yeah, like when Houston wanted to bring a Ouija board into the house.
Yes.
Nope.
I know. He's 14, and I was like, "You are not bringing that kind of juju into my house."
But yeah, so I also, just to touch base on that second episode, like the big deal that made it like all across social media right after was with Chucky talking about his gender fluid kid, which was such a nice throwback to Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so
that blew up. That went very viral, which was
it did.
Was nice. It made me happy.
Well,
I'm not a monster. And I was like, oh.
When I watched the episode, I guess I just watched it and I was like, good scene, good. I mean, like I don't hate Chucky. Chucky's just a psychopath. Like seriously.
Yeah,
the third episode
misunderstood.
The third episode, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for you guys to watch the third episode. You're gonna really like it.
It's also one of those shows, we were actually talking about this earlier, where you catch yourself kind of rooting for, like, humans, we shouldn't be like, kill that bitch, but I'm like, kill that bitch.
For real, like real talk.
That blonde bitch, I'm like, oh my god, I hope she dies. I felt bad for, spoiler alert, for anybody that hasn't watched it, but the housekeeper, I was like, she didn't do anything, Chucky.
Right? Like what? And the cat.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like thinking, I'm like, okay, the housekeeper. I mean, what did she really do to you?
She even cleaned your face.
That's probably why, because he's like, you got that shit in my eye, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it was like, okay, and seriously, you're gonna start this killing spree that's gonna lead back to the kid.
That's the scary part.
And it's gonna make it a mess for you, Chucky. Ugh. Anyway, because that doll's always involved. He's been involved since the 80s. What are they gonna say?
Death by misadventure. That's what they're gonna say.
Anyway, it's been real. It's been a nice episode. Thanks for chatting with us. Thanks for joining us, Stephen, at this ungodly hour in the month of.
It's 11:22 here.
For you, it's 11:22.
Where are you in Florida?
Right now, I'm in Titusville.
Oh.
It's where the Space Center's at, so everything is space themed here, but I'm just not into it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm ready to go home.
You're like, okay, bye.
I don't really want a one giant leap breakfast tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Good.
Like Houston, we have a problem. Milkshake is not gonna.
Yeah.
Can I get the Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it like, south? Ew. Like what? I don't have any clue.
It is south. Yeah, it's
okay.
Like I think they said it's like 30 minutes away from Orlando.
Okay.
So yeah, 2 hours away. It's 2 hours south of Jacksonville. So
crazy ass Florida. All right. Well, on that note,
now that we have that on our recording,
right?
Well, come on.
It's true.
Yeah.
Still,
the heat does something to people.
Anyway, thank you so much, listeners. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Spread our podcast like you might spread coronavirus if you don't get the vaccination.
What?
Thank you and good night.
And we're out.